Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. We human beings seem to have three perspectives on time. We recognize there's time in the past, we're living in the present time, and we're looking forward to a future time. The past is remembered, sometimes with regret, sometimes with great joy and happiness. We cannot change the past. We do have the tool of forgiveness to deal with the times of regret. The future is full of either hope or dread. We hope for the good things that are going to happen, and we dread the bad things that we're afraid of. The present is where we struggle with reality. Sometimes our memories of the past should prepare us for the difficulties of the future. That's what happens in today's passage, and that's what Jesus is reminding the disciples about. In Mark chapter 8, verses 14 to 21, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition, it said, "But the disciples had forgotten to bring any food. They had only one loaf of bread with them in the boat. As they were crossing the lake, Jesus warned them, 'Watch out! Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod.' At this, they began to argue with each other because they hadn't brought any bread. Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said, 'Why are you arguing about not having any bread? Don't you know or even understand even yet? Are your hearts too hard to take it in? You have eyes, can't you see? You have ears, can't you hear? Don't you remember anything at all? When I fed the 5,000 with 5 loaves of bread, how many baskets of leftovers did you pick up afterwards?' 12, they said. And when I fed the 4,000 with 7 loaves, how many large baskets of leftovers did you pick up?' 7, they said. Don't you understand yet?" They'd forgotten to bring food. Only one loaf for 13 of them. And their loaves are not as big as our loaves. Think of a small loaf pan, maybe a large dinner roll sized was their loaf. And that means only a small bite apiece, and that's not much of a lunch. And Jesus' comment to them was a little strange. "Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and of Herod." Now, yeast is that ingredient that makes the bread rise, that makes it light. It's the difference between a dinner roll and a tortilla. And it's seen as the driving force of what makes bread, bread. And so he told them to beware of what that driving force, that catalyst for the Pharisees and Herod are. And you know what he just got through telling them? The last couple of chapters is this generation keeps demanding a sign. They keep demanding a new miracle. And he's telling the disciples, you watch out that that's not what you're doing. Did you forget the bread just so you could force me to do another miracle? What's going on here? Beware of that being your driving force. So they started arguing about who forgot to bring the lunch. And they're pointing fingers at each other and telling each other what's wrong. And Jesus, almost exasperated, says, "Are your hearts too hard to take it in?" Oh, how God desires for us to have a soft heart, a malleable heart, one that will listen and learn instead of having our minds already made up. Are you too hard-hearted to take it in? Do you have eyes that cannot see and ears that cannot hear? Can't you look around you and see what's going on and perceive what God is doing? Can't you hear the words that I've been teaching you and learn from them? Do you have absolutely no memory at all? Let me ask you a real simple question. We fed 5,000. How many baskets you have left over? Well, we had 12. In other words, you provided and provided more than what we could ever expect. Well, what about the next time when I fed the 4,000? We had 7 large baskets left over. And then he asked him again, don't you understand? Your needs will be met. I've got a good friend that says past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. You know, we need to look and see what God has done in the past and what He's taught us, and let it help us learn how to deal with the difficulties of today. As you've prayed and seen God answer your prayers, as God has provided for your needs, you can use that past behavior as a predictor of what God's going to do on this day. And you can trust God to be consistent. And the interesting thing about tomorrow is that if we trust God today and we continue building up that trust and experience and memories of God at work, we might be able to change tomorrow and bring more hope into play than just dread. May you trust God today and change your tomorrow. God bless you.